Welcome to Fomo Consulting for your Exela stock analysis video on Thursday, August 12th. Ladies and gentlemen, the battle continues, and as always, the apes are winning, the diamond hands are winning, most importantly, the retail investors winning. So if you find this video informative and entertaining, please like, share, certainly comment, and most importantly, subscribe. It's a newer channel, and I'd appreciate the support. Let's get into the video. So let's look at the broader market. Overall, S&P up 13, Dow up 14, NASDAQ up 51, and the Russell was down 6. As you can see, several of the big tech names had really good days after the major sell-off that happened pre-market and at the opening bell. NASDAQ was no doubt affected by that. Dow certainly was. Futures, pre-market, opening bell, everything was blood red, and quite frankly, a lot of my watch list still has not recovered yet, but overall, nice recovery for most of the big plays anyway for the second half of the trading day. But Exela certainly felt the effects of the broader market sell-off this morning. Speaking of selling off, crypto is having a let's just call it a correction day. Overall, most of the major coins are down 3 to 6%. Bitcoin is down to around 44,000. Doge is around 26 cent. Litecoin, Ethereum, and many others all down today. We'll see how this happens, but over the next few days. But overall, it's been a nice run. Probably due for a correction, but hopefully they'll find a bottom close to the trading areas that they're in currently. So well done to the German apes, down 1.5%, 2.56 euros. Been a pretty rocky trading week, no different than the American exchanges, but overall holding strong. Well done. Some pretty good news today for Exela. Each and every day, something new and good comes out about this company. Overall, it was named a hot vendor by Aragon Research, simply because of all of the product offerings on the digital platforms that they all offer. So overall, that was a nice little piece of news and certainly confirms a lot of the bullish sentiment around this company's long-term prospect. So what I want to show you is the AMC chart from pretty much the last 6 months or so. So if you've been in AMC, you know what I'm talking about. If you have not, I personally have been in since early February. That $14 level of resistance was a very, very heavy level of resistance, one of which we had to knock on the door on, and we did so in mid-March. We knocked on it a couple days and it got rejected down and spent really 2 months in a $8 to $10 channel and never left it. It was pretty benign times, very boring consolidation. And then we got our second opportunity in mid-May. We approached that $14 level, got promptly rejected back down yet again, but the third time was the charm. Now I know that Exela, as it relates to AMC, has a heavy level of resistance at the $3.50 level. I know there's other heavy resistance around 325, what have you, but that 350, they've already shown us that is their line of demarcation. That is their line of pain that they do not want us crossing because we've been rejected very heavily from that about a week or so ago, and we have not returned to that. No different than AMC, as you can see back in March. We hit that level, knocked on it, and then promptly got rejected and spent some time consolidating in a lower channel until we were ready to make that bull run yet again. I'm not saying it's going to take 2 months, but I certainly believe they have shown their hand. They've shown us a line that we cannot cross, but once we cross it, I believe we will have a breakout. Speaking of breaking out, this may very well cause that breakout. And these options expire on the 20th of August. So a ton of open interest, nearly 40,000. So if you take that number and multiply it by 100, that is how much open interest there is just on the call side. The puts still under 8,000, far, far outweighs the puts on the call side. Very, very bullish, and I cannot believe there's going to be this much open interest left on the table. Thereby, my overall thesis, my personal opinion, and my personal due diligence, and being in AMC and several other plays that are options heavy, the whales, market makers, they're going to run this price up. I believe we're going to approach $4 at some time between now and the 20th. maybe on the last trading day, who knows? But again, there's just too much at stake on a small cap stock that can be moved very, very easily to this $4 and $5 level again. And if you look out going to September, you start to see a similar sentiment again on the call side between $4 and $5. So overall, I am feeling very bullish, specifically because of the open interest on the call side, and knowing very well that the market makers, the whales, the big investors are not going to leave this much on the table. So you can certainly look at this from a certain different perspective. You can see where the open interest on the calls and the volume associated with is certainly very, very bullish. And 5-to-1, the call versus put ratio overall for all of the options chain expiring on the 20th is absolutely ridiculous. So let's look at Exela today, how we did. Overall, you can see we sold off pretty much very hard from the opening bell. Hit that heavy level of what I would call new support at 293, because we've knocked on that door not once but twice today. Held very, very strong, which to me says we've had a 10-cent level of support increase. Overall, we closed down 16 cents, 5.13% at $2.96, down a bit after hours. No big deal. That's about usual. A penny up, penny down. But you can see where they broke us below VWAP today. But more specifically, if you can barely see that dotted line, that's part of the larger pennant that we broke out of yesterday. But we've pretty much traded right along the top of that pennant line all day long on a downward channel. But again, volumes were exceptionally low today. But this is a very, very hard to borrow stock. I don't believe that this was necessarily being heavily shorted today, but it is a very risky stock to short. And if you look where we've hit that level of support at 293, we bounced off of it not once, not twice, but actually 3 times. So it was a very, very strong level of support for us today, but it's also right along that trend line of a separate bullish pennant. And as it relates to the NASDAQ chart, you can see where we followed the overall trend of the NASDAQ, sold off very heavily, opening bell, recovered throughout the day. And then about 2 o'clock, that is where the separation started between our movement and the NASDAQ. But overall, I believe that's when the shorts really stepped in, kept it pinned, obviously made their money, made their point, but overall we were following the overall trend of the NASDAQ up until that point, as you can see. And if you look, volumes were exceptionally low today. We were barcoding pretty much the second half of the trading day. This was actually pretty boring, but also quite reassuring to know that even on a barcode, very light volume day, they could not press this below the 293 level, which gave me a lot of confidence going into the next few days. So let's look at the 5-day, 5-minute chart. You can certainly see where we're building an ascending level of support. We had an intraday low last week of 283. We have now knocked on the door today 3 times of 293, which tells me that we are building support upwards. And you can certainly see where we jumped out of that pennant, albeit briefly yesterday. We kind of got pressed back down, back in it today, and then we traded downwards pretty much to the end of it. So tomorrow, if not Monday, this stock does have a decision. So zooming in on the 30-minute chart, you can see the dotted line, which is the end of that pennant formation on the larger scale timeline. The MACD is certainly in oversold territory, and the RSI as well. We are in bounce territory over the coming day or two. Again, I believe this stock needs to make a decision. You can see those doji candles. It's just really light volume, next to nothing, as you can see. A breakout would need to follow with kind of convicted overall volume to go along with it, whether it's up or down. We shall see, but it just depends on which way this breaks. And quite frankly, with the indicators, it's really hard to tell, but we certainly seem to be in an area where this stock would bounce upwards based on the lower end of the indicators of the RSI and MACD, but we shall see. Again, looking at the larger timeline, On the 1 hour chart, again, we are pretty much at the end of that pennant formation. And again, the RSI and MACD are both pretty well calmed down and in neutral, if not a bit oversold. Again, I believe we can have a bounce from these levels, but again, the volume needs to come along with it, whether it's up or down. Again, looking at the 4 hour chart, you see the same thing. We're pretty well at the end of the road. We'll see how this plays out. Hopefully, we have a rocket ship going upwards. We shall see. So looking at the daily time frame, you can see where we are at the end of that pennant formation, and the MACD is certainly ready for a bullish crossover. It's just kind of been in a consolidation mode. We are pretty much exactly neutral, as well as the RSI. We are in bounce territory. We certainly have a lot of room to run if we have a break to the upside. But again, we'll see how the volume looks tomorrow, because whether it's up or down, that will show the conviction of where the stock is going. And the alligator right now is just waiting to see which way he's going to eat. So if you were in GME, congratulations. Pretty good day, up $3.57, 162.35. Overall, very, very low volume on GME today. I believe its brighter days are ahead, but again, it needs a catalyst to really get moving. Clove, if you were in Clove, I know it's very popular. Congratulations. I know it had a pretty good day, bounced around that $9 level, which was very, very nice to see. Palantir had fantastic earnings, jumped up to an intraday high of 25.76. Kind of got pulled down from there, traded around that $25 level of heavy resistance. But overall, really good day for Palantir. And Robinhood fell off like a rock, but did find consolidation around the $48 level. Closed down red about 6% today, but again, we'll see what the future of Robinhood looks like. And if you're in Disney, congratulations, fantastic earnings, shot up like a rocket after hours based on an earnings beat. So Disney really getting it together and having a really good run lately. Let's look at the Vortex data for Xela. Overall, 8.08 days is the average age of the short positions, and the short interest continues to climb. Overall, based on T2 settlements, this is going to kind of ebb and flow, but overall, fundamentally, nothing has changed. As you can see, institutional ownership, nothing's changed. Still have 10. Volume today was exceptionally low at 15 million. But the shares on loan continued to climb, 12.86 million. Cost to borrow a very high 7.43 as an average. Utilization came down just a little bit due to the return shares were at 80%. I believe once we get into the mid-90s, game on. 19.96% short interest percent of free float. They borrowed 2 million shares, returned 1.33 million. A short interest change of 5.5%. 2 million shares according to Fintel, take it with a grain of salt, with a borrow fee of 9.35. So overall, the options volume was about the same as yesterday, even on very, very low volume. Options volume was about 13,000 total, exceptionally bullish, 12-to-1 call versus put ratio. You can see there's a lot of August 20th calls at the $4 strike level being placed today. A lot of big money contracts. Overall, smart money, right? And again, this is what makes me believe they're not going to leave that much money on the table if they can help it, especially with a smaller cap stock with a small float. Looking at the Fidelity probability calculator, always fun to look at. Take it with a very large grain of salt. And the pre-timing report for Exela over the next 10 trading days. This is through yesterday. Updates in the evening. Overall, still showing consolidation and an upward trend towards the end of it, closer to the $4 level. We'll see. So I want to thank you all for watching. If you found this video informative and entertaining, please like, share, certainly comment, and most importantly, subscribe. It's a newer channel, and I would certainly appreciate the support. But as always, I hope your life is full of green candles. Take care. Bye-bye.